What's up everyone, it's Blue here at Blue Bears Games, and today's video will be my upgrade guide for the Murders at Karlov Manor, Revenant Recon, Commander Precon. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask for your help in supporting my channel, which can be done in the following ways. Subscribing to the channel, sharing any of my content on your socials, watching some of my many other videos, purchasing super thanks, purchasing channel memberships, purchasing decks that you may have seen on this channel directly from me on the Blue Bears Games Facebook page, and/or visiting our sponsor at arcane-fortress.com and using discount code BLUEBEAR at checkout if you decide to purchase any of their amazing gaming supplies from them. Anything that you do will help support my channel immensely, and I thank you for it. Now that that is out of the way, let's get to today's video. For this guide, I'll start by showing you the cards that I would recommend removing first, and then I'll show you the cards that I would add back in that I believe will help make this deck either more fun to play a little better, or best case scenario, both. So I bet you're wondering what I've decided to do as far as the direction for this guide, huh? Well, since the theory for this deck is to surveil and dump big nasties into the yard, and then reanimate them or copy any already in play, I decided to just run with that. That means that I'll be adding more useful clone type creatures, a big daddy or two, and a combo that fits the theme that's already in place. So, now that you know the basic game plan, let's just get right into it, starting with what I'd take out first. I would remove the following: Darkwater Catacombs, Temple of the False God, Dimir Signet, Final Word Phantom, Amphin Mutineer, Dream Eater, Baleful Strix, Ifara's Dispersal, Otherworldly Gaze, Ransom Note, and Foreboding Steamboat. That's 11 cards in total that I would remove, and most of them are because they were just not good or had better options that would replace them for not a lot of money. Some of those removals may have fit the theme, but I found a couple of cards that I liked better. Which ones, you ask? Well, let me show you. To start, I have one mana rock that isn't better mana-wise than the one that I removed, but has some neat things that it could do, called Machine God's Effigy. It's an honest-to-goodness mana rock, albeit for 4 mana, but the ability to add mana is just the bonus here. The reason that I liked it was because A, it's a clone that can copy a creature on any player's board, and B, it has combo potential, which I'll talk about shortly. Next, I'll talk about the creatures that I found that I liked. There were 7 in total, and a lot of them I would consider as upgraded clones for different reasons. The first creature is Likeness Looter. While it has an ability that has a similar effect to Surveil, it's not Surveil itself, but is what we call a loot ability. Regardless of what we call it, the end result is that we can get a creature that we want into the graveyard. The quote-unquote clone part of this card is also a little different as well because of 2 reasons. First, it's different because it's an activated ability that only works while it's already in play. The second difference is it copies something in your graveyard, which in some ways can be better than cloning something in play, especially for this deck. Unfortunately, it still requires you to spend mana to do it, but at least it only costs generic mana, so if you add a way to create a ton of mana, then that issue is kind of moot. The second creature is Spark Double. This is kind of like the king of all clones because of the not being legendary clause and the additional counter that it gets. Basically, this can be an extra copy of your commander if you need it to be. The third creature is Clever Impersonator. I liked this version of a clone because it can copy any non-land permanent in play, which opens up a lot of possibilities. An opponent may just happen to have something way more devastating than you on their side of the board, and with this, now you can have a copy of it too. The fourth creature is Starving Revenant. I liked this because it adds another way to drain life from your opponents without having to actually do it through combat. The fifth creature is Body Double. I wanted some redundancy with being able to clone creatures in your graveyard, and this one does one better. It can actually copy a creature from any graveyard. The 6th creature is Auton Soldier. A clone with the Myriad ability just seemed really fun to try in this build, especially since it and the Myriad tokens can clone anybody's creatures. Honestly though, this card just seemed like it was way too much fun not to give a try. And the 7th and final creature is Sheoldred Whispering One. I wanted a really useful Big Daddy for this spot, and this one fit the bill quite nicely. This version of Sheoldred advances the Reanimator theme, helps do crowd control of opposing creatures, and is a perfect target for cloning with the clones that don't have to worry about the legendary claws. Moving on, the next card that I want to show you is an enchantment called Gossip's Talent. The free static ability obviously helps the Surveil theme, and the second ability is nice for your smaller creatures, but the third ability is the main reason that I would add this. Why, you ask? Because it's a way to get rid of those stupid finality counters on creatures that your commander reanimates. Yes, I hate finality counters that much. And the last card that I'm going to recommend before showing you a combo for the deck is actually a first on the channel, because it will be the first time I ever recommend a battle as an upgrade. It's called Invasion of Amonkhet, which when defeated turns into Lazotep Convert. As the battle half, it both mills everyone and provides a little card advantage, which is nice, but it's the back side of this card that I wanted. The back half of this card gives you a third clone that can copy a creature in the graveyard. I can't express to you how important a clone with this type of ability is in a deck that likes to dump all of its creatures into the graveyard willingly. Now we come to the combo section for this guide. I already mentioned one of the cards earlier, which was Machine God's Effigy. Then you add the last card that I'll recommend for this guide, called Astral Dragon. I'm not going to even attempt to explain how this works, and instead I would just direct you to the link that's at the top of your screen, because I feel like you may need to read how this works a couple of times. When you follow all of the steps in that explanation, it can result in infinite blue mana, infinite creature token copies of all non-creature permanents, infinite creature tokens, infinite enters the battlefield triggers, and infinite non-creature artifact token copies of all creatures. Basically, you get a horde of 3/3 flyers that are also copies of a bunch of different things already on the board. So there you have it, folks, my upgrade guide for the Murders at Karlov Manor Revenant Recon Commander Precon. While everything that I just showed you will not make this Precon a top tier deck, it will make it a fun and uniquely interesting one for sure. Honestly, I kinda like the whole dump big daddies into your graveyard and reanimate them later theme, so to me, this seems like a really fun precon overall. Technically, you could make this a very nasty deck if you want to dump some money into it by adding Eldrazi Titans or a Blightsteel Colossus, but my channel is more about having fun and being budget friendly. In yet another first for this channel, I'm actually going to show you the prices of the cards to illustrate my point. As you can see by this image, at the time of filming, all of the upgrades that I just showed you came in at just under $39, which is roughly about the same cost as a Blightsteel Colossus or some of the Eldrazi Titans alone. So sure, you could really spend some money to upgrade this deck, but I believe you will do just fine with what I just went over. I'd be interested in hearing what you think about it, and would love to read about your thoughts in the comments. Well, folks, sadly that's all I've got for you this week. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for more Magic content to watch, please browse my playlists, as I'm sure you'll find more of my videos that you'll enjoy. Before you go, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so that you can be notified when I release new content, which is usually every Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week.